I'm 52 years old, and I've been lifting for 5 years. Today, I'm being 100% transparent. I'm benching 225 pounds. To some, that's a warm-up. For me, it's a wall. I don't use feel to gauge my progress anymore. I use data. This Rep One tether is my speedometer. And today I'm showing you the exact technical reasons why I rely on this specific unit to break through this 225-pound bottleneck. I consider myself a lifer. That means I'm not training for a trophy or a 12-week transformation. I'm training so I can be the strongest person in the room when I'm 70. As a lifer, you can't afford the guesswork. That leads to injury. You need to know if your nervous system is actually cooked or if you're just mentally soft. This is where velocity-based training, or VBT, comes in. It's the difference between a productive session and a shoulder surgery. Let's get one thing straight. RPE is a lie. Rate of perceived exertion is the industry standard for guessing. It asks you on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was that? But your brain is a survival mechanism. It wants you to stop. It tells you that 225-pound rep was an RPE 9 when, in reality, your velocity shows it was RPE 7 or worse. It tells you that you have one more rep in the tank when your speed is already in the basement. As a lifer, feeling is the fastest way to plateau or get snapped up. I don't care how I feel, I care what the sensor says. If the bar is moving at a certain speed, the nervous system is ready. If it isn't, the ego stays in the locker. We're replacing subjective feel with objective physics. For those of you new to this gear, look at that floor. This is a small magnetic housing with a high-strength string inside, a tether. You clip it to the bar, and it measures exactly how fast that bar moves from point A to point B. It's not a gym tracker, it's a laboratory instrument that turns every rep into a data point on your phone. It tells you the truth about your power output when your brain is trying to tell you to quit. Let's get the technicals right. You might see the Rep One E-Stack on social media. That's their highly anticipated digital weight system that's going to be found in a lot of high-end gyms. This unit is the personal VBT tether, but it shares that same engineering DNA. It's a linear position transducer. So while most consumer pucks use accelerometers, that guesses your speed based on tilt. This is a physical connection to the iron. It measures literal displacement. When you're at your limit, you don't want an algorithm's best guess, you want the raw physics of the tether. Don't let the lab grade label fool you into thinking this is a headache to set up. It's built for technical simplicity. Step one, you download the Rep One personal app. You turn on the device and it connects via Bluetooth instantly. No fumbling with sync codes or drop signals. For the physical setup, you simply attach the unit to a steel plate on the floor directly below the bar. The magnets on the base are high tension, so once it's on that plate, it stays locked. Then you pull the tether and you attach it to the bar. That's it. Within 60 seconds of walking into the rack, you are essentially ready to lift. It's an industrial tool designed to stay out of the way of the work. Let's talk about the engineering. This is a physical linear position transducer, otherwise known as LPT. Most consumer trackers use accelerometers. They're fine for general fitness, but they struggle with noise. The Rep One uses a physical tether. It measures the literal displacement of the bar in real time with zero lag. Let's take a look at this specific rep on the screen. 0.16 meters per second. That is my absolute floor. My minimum velocity threshold, MVT. In a professional lab or a garage gym, this number is the absolute truth. If the tether says 0.16, the nervous system is at its floor. 1/100th of a second slower and the bar stays on my chest. This isn't a feeling, it's the objective diagnostic line between a productive set and a total failure. It's important to understand where this tech comes from and where it's headed. This is the same high fidelity sensor brain that's going to be found in the Rep One E-Stack. They're also in the industrial units used in professional performance labs and university weight rooms. Units that cost north of $5,000. We're using that same diagnostic power in a personal garage gym format. When I'm moving 225 pounds at 0.16 meters per second, the bar is vibrating. My body is under max tension. You need a sensor that filters out that noise and gives you the raw physics of the lift. If the data isn't laboratory grade, it's just a guess. The app provides raw metrics, velocity, ROM, and duration. But for a solo lifter, the standout is a 30-second grace period. You rack the bar, catch your breath, and the unit archives the data automatically. It sets up the next rep and set and immediately starts your rest timer right on the screen. It keeps you on pace without ever having to touch the device with sweaty hands. So we're also looking at the next evolution, Strength OS. I've been testing a version of this with a true auto-loading feature. It uses your rep speed to tell you exactly when to increase or decrease the weight on the bar. It's the leap from measuring the workout to managing the workout. But until that's public, the Rep One app is the gold standard for raw diagnostics. What we're really managing here is velocity loss. It's not just about the last rep, it's about the drop off from Rep 1 to Rep 5. If my first rep is 0.45 milliseconds and my last rep is 0.30, that's a 33% loss. And as a lifer, if I cross that 30% threshold, I'm creating systematic fatigue that I can't recover from by the next session. This tether tells me to stop the set before I reach failure, so I can come back tomorrow and do it again. That is how you train for 40 years instead of 4. But here is the powered up secret. I just don't look at the screen and walk away. I screenshot my data and I upload it directly to Gemini. I use the AI as a second set of eyes, a digital strength coach that finds the trends that I might miss. It analyzes my velocity loss, it checks my session intent, and it gives me a no BS breakdown of my recovery and my nervous system readiness. I'm not just collecting numbers, I'm building a data set for an AI-driven program. So this is the red line, 0.16 meters per second. That is my absolute floor, my minimum velocity threshold. If I hit that number, the set is over, period. 1/100th of a second slower and the bar stays on my chest. I'm not guessing based on how heavy it felt. I'm looking at the literal physics of my capacity. This data removes the ego, but as a lifer, you have to be the one to listen to it. If you want to be the strongest person in a room at 70, you stop training by feel and you start training with precision. Subscribe to Paired and Powered Up because we're going to be going through some of this in the next few videos.